I'm Hadi the dietitian, and welcome to Healthy Made Simple, where I show you how to make healthy eating simple. In this video, I'm going to be sharing a really quick and easy overnight oats recipe. Now, I love oatmeal as a breakfast or a snack option. It's got fiber, it's got protein. For the serving size that I'm going to be making, you're actually going to get 6 grams of protein and 5 grams of fiber, and you can easily increase that with different toppings that you're adding on. But what I'm going to share is how I like to make my overnight oats base, what proportions I use of oats to milk, and what else I have in there to get that kind of oatmeal consistency without having to cook oatmeal. Because personally, I don't really have time in the mornings to cook up oatmeal, and I don't like getting the packets that you add the water into because a lot of them do tend to have sugar. So I prefer overnight oats as an option, and I do like that it's cold and it can be a really nice, refreshing breakfast or snack option, especially as the summer months come up. Now, if you are interested, stay tuned to see how I'm going to put these overnight oats together, what proportions I'm going to use. I actually have one that I made 2 days ago, and I have one that I made yesterday, so I can show you what the consistency looks like over time. I typically tend to make maybe 4 or 5 of these at a time to get me through the whole week, and they do last that long, and they will become thicker over time as you keep them in the fridge. So I'll show you how that looks like over time, and then I'm going to show you what I'm going to do for my toppings for today's overnight oats. You can easily change up the toppings by using different fruits, different nuts or nut butters, seeds, different types of sweeteners to really create variety and make it something fresh and new every day. If you're interested, stay tuned to see how I'm going to put these overnight oats together. Let's go! All right, now all you need for this is going to be rolled oats, milk of your choice. I'm using almond milk today, and this is just regular almond milk. Sometimes I buy the high protein one, but I got this 3-pack from Costco, so I'm just trying to go through this regular almond milk, chia seeds, and a mason jar. Now for this one, I'm going to use a 16-ounce mason jar. I find that this works pretty well to give me enough space in there to put all the ingredients in terms of the oats, the milk, and the chia seeds. And it also leaves a little bit more room for additional toppings to add on the day of. All right, so I'm going to start with opening up my mason jar. And for my measuring cup, I'm using a 1/2 cup measure. I'm going to use this for everything. Now, the proportions I like to go for is going to be 1 part oats to 2 parts milk. So typically I do a 1/2 cup of oats with 1 full cup of milk, and you can absolutely use any milk of your choice. Almond milk is a little bit on the thinner side, so this is a little bit more thinner in terms of the consistency, especially for the first day. After the first day, it does thicken up quite a bit. And I do prefer my oatmeal a little bit more on the runny side. I don't personally like chunky oatmeal. So if you like your oatmeal really chunky, you can go with a little bit less milk. But just keep in mind that if you're going to keep it in the fridge for a couple days, it is going to thicken up, especially since we're adding chia seeds in, and the chia seeds turn into that gel-like consistency over time to help thicken up the mixture. And if you find that it gets too thick for you over time, you can always add in a splash of milk. But I do prefer this 1-to-2 ratio, especially if you're making a big batch at a time to be used over the course of a couple days. So we're going to start with our mason jar and add a 1/2 cup of oats first. All right, I got my 1/2 cup of oats right here, so I'm going to add that to my mason jar, and this really is the trickiest part of the whole process to make sure I don't spill the oats everywhere. So I got my 1/2 cup of rolled oats in there, and then next is going to be the milk. All right, I'm going to do a cup of milk, and I do like using a 1/2 cup measure for this so that I don't have to keep 2 separate measuring tools with me. And I can just use this one twice to make my 1 cup of milk. There we go. And then lastly, I'm going to do a teaspoon of chia seeds. There we go, just a full teaspoon of chia seeds. And then all you have to do is just close up your mason jar, give it a little shake to make sure everything gets distributed throughout. So I like to use kind of a swirling motion to get everything mixed around. And there we go, it's ready to go. It's really that simple. Just a 1-to-2 ratio of your oats to milk, a teaspoon of chia seeds, and set this in the fridge. and it will thicken up overnight to be ready to go the next day. And as I mentioned, you can make maybe 4 to 5 of these at a time to use throughout the week. And if you find that, your 4th or 5th one is getting a little bit too thick, just add a little bit more milk on top. Now, next I'm going to show you the ones that I made 2 days ago and yesterday as well, so that you can see the difference in consistency over time. All right, let's take a look at the ones that I made 2 days ago versus the one I did a day ago, yesterday. And all I do when I'm ready to eat these is give it a good shake to make sure everything mixes up. And you can use your spoon for this as well, but I like that in a mason jar, you can kind of just shake it and nothing will happen. And this is the one I made 2 days ago. You can kind of see the consistency. It's quite thick just in 2 days, and that's thanks to those chia seeds in there. You may be able to see that the chia seeds have gotten bigger over time. They've absorbed that liquid in there so that it can give nice thickness to the oatmeal. So this is 2 days ago compared to this one right here, which I made yesterday. And you can see from the consistency, it's a little bit more runny. So just even the course of a day, it does thicken up quite a bit. And let me show you a close-up of these. All right, this one is the one that I made 2 days ago, and this is the one that I made yesterday. And let me give you a close-up of the consistency of these guys. So you can see this one has thickened up quite a bit. You can see that it's nice thickness. To me, this is probably the ideal consistency I'm looking for 2 days out. I think tends to work the best for me in terms of what I like to prefer. And then this one right here is the one that I made yesterday, and you can see it's a little bit more on the runny side. Not necessarily bad, it still tastes good. It's more like cereal, I would say, like if you were to do cereal and milk. But if you give it just one more day, it does thicken up quite a bit. And as I mentioned, you can always do less milk if you prefer it, but since I like to make big batches, this works best for me. All right, so I'm going to use the one that I made 2 days ago, first in, first out. So I'm going to use the oldest one I have for today's breakfast. Now, in terms of the toppings I'm going to use today, I'm going to add some almond butter. I love adding almond butter to my foods to help add in extra protein, extra healthy fats, and really make this a nice and filling meal. And you can use other nut butters as well. You can do peanut butter. You can do seed butters like sunflower seed butter, whatever works for you. But doing some sort of a nut butter is a great way of adding extra protein and healthy fats. I'm going to use honey for my sweetener today. There are many other sweeteners you can use. You can use agave if you wanted to. I typically don't add sugar, but sometimes I will do like a reduced sugar jam as a sweetener to add more flavor and some sweetness as well. And I'm a little bit low on fruits today, fresh fruits. So I'm going to go with the frozen option. I'm going to do frozen blueberries that I'm going to add on. This works absolutely well with, of course, fresh blueberries if you wanted to do that, or any other berries. I love berries as an option because they're high in antioxidants and typically lower in sugar. You can also do bananas. I think mangoes would work really well in this as well. So there's quite a lot of variety of fruits that you can add on to make this fresh and new each time. And then lastly, I'm going to add in some hemp seeds. Hemp seeds are something that I like to sneak into anything that I can. So I'm going to be adding that in addition to everything I have in there. And it's going to make this a really hefty oatmeal. Now, if I don't end up finishing all of this for breakfast, I'll have it as a snack later on in the day. It really depends on my mood. I'm typically not super hungry in the mornings, but I do like having something in my system so that I'm not starving by lunchtime and I have enough energy to get me through those morning hours when I'm working and I really need brain power. So this is a great way of starting my day. Even if the portion size is too big for me to start out with, I can always finish it off later in the day. All right, so let's get started with adding all of our toppings in. All right, I'm going to start by adding in my almond butter first, and I'm doing about a tablespoon of almond butter in there. And make sure that whenever you're using your nut butters, you mix them around, especially almond butter. The oil tends to separate. So every time you're using it, give it a good stir so that you're not just taking the oily bits at the top and the bottom is going to be dry. So I'm going to put my almond butter in there first. Next, I'm going to do a teaspoon of hemp seeds. And I don't really have an alternative for hemp seeds. I really like the kind of nutty consistency and texture and flavor that it adds to any food that I'm adding it in. And it's just such an easy way of sneaking in more protein and omega-3s. So if you don't usually use hemp seeds, give it a try. It really mixes well with a lot of different items. All right, next I'm gonna drizzle in my honey. And the order in which I go with all of these really kind of depends on how I feel like it mixes in the best. And the amount of honey I have really depends on the day too. Some days I'm really craving something sweeter, especially as females out there may know, as your period is coming up, you tend to crave sweeter things, and I definitely do. So on those days, it's probably a little bit more honey, but on the days when I'm not feeling as sweet, I'll go a little bit less to help cut back on sugar, but I love using honey as my sweetener for a lot of things. And then lastly, I'm going to add in about a 1/4 cup of frozen blueberries. And if you were doing a banana, maybe a half banana would work well in this, or any other berries you wanted to use, or any other fruit you want to go for. You can always add more fruit. I love having fruit in the mornings as part of my breakfast, and also in the afternoons as part of my snacks, because it gives that kind of like sweetness that I'm typically looking for. It gives me a little burst of energy. So it's a nice way of having a healthier sweet option to add on. And I've been mixing this guy around, and you can kind of see the colors changing thanks to those blueberries in there. This does work really well with fresh blueberries. If I had fresh blueberries, I actually would prefer that over the frozen, but it's actually a little bit warm where I am, so I'm okay with the frozen today. If it was a cold day, maybe the frozen blueberries might be a little too cold for me, but there we go. I got it all mixed together, and let me show you what that looks like. Just make sure you're digging down at the bottom to get everything. And here is a bite of that blueberry oatmeal overnight oats with my almond butter, honey, and seeds in there. So give this a try. This is a really hefty meal for me. And I'm feeling kind of hungry today. So maybe I'll end up finishing it all. And if not, I'll just have the rest later. And that's it. It was that simple to just put together some overnight oats and be able to switch it up with different toppings each day to create variety in breakfast or snack options. You could probably even do this as part of your lunch, as long as you pair it with maybe something with veggies and a little bit more protein on the side with it, if you wanted to kind of use this as your protein / carb option for lunchtime. And I hope this video helps give you an idea of how you can really simplify making oatmeal at home by using overnight oats instead of having to cook up oatmeal. Thank you so much for watching Healthy Made Simple. I hope my videos give you inspiration to try these quick and easy ways of preparing meals, snacks, and other items that are going to be healthier choices for you and your family. And if you have not already done so, please make sure to hit that subscribe button and stay tuned for my future videos where I'll continue to share recipes and easy ideas like this. And make sure to leave a comment down below if there's anything that you're interested in seeing. I recently got a request to do a video with different ideas that I have for like 5-minute quick meal and snack ideas. So I do have that coming up in the works. I like taking your suggestions because I do want to give you content that I know is going to be helpful for you. So make sure to leave a comment if there's something you're interested in seeing down the line. Thanks again for watching, and I hope you have a wonderful day. Bye-bye.